Hi everyone, it's Andy Glenn here from Sharks TV. I'd like to welcome you to a little film we're making today about volunteers for the Sharks. You'll know that we really need volunteers to make sure that our club does well and continues to thrive and survive. If you've been at any of the games, you'll have heard shout outs for volunteers to come forward. If you've got any time at all, any ideas, we'll find a job for you as a volunteer within the Sharks. There are two distinct types of volunteers. So tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit about both. So we've got general volunteers who will take money at doors, sell 50-50 tickets, shirts off the back, things like that. And we want as many people like that as possible to come forward. But there's also off-ice officials volunteers, and we've got a dedicated but small number of those people here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But over to Brian McMeekan, who will tell you a lot more about the off-ice officials. And if you want to get involved in any aspect of this, contact us at the Solway Sharks and we'll get you in to help us and help our club do well.
Yeah, thanks Andy. Yes, we're desperate for off-ice volunteers, and we could do with you coming along on a game night to help out. All training will be given. We've got 4, possibly 5 positions that we need during the game. We have goal judge, penalty box judge, timekeeper, scorer, and if possible for somebody free, an assistant scorer. The goal judging is quite simple. You get sheets like this if it's an SNL game, and if you've been with the juniors, you'll have probably seen similar to this. And it's just a shot and goal, and you just put a tick, and if there's a goal, you put a circle. And at the end of the period, you go around and tell the scorer what the shots on goal were. The English sheets are slightly different. They look more scary, but they're not. It's just exactly the same system. You just put a tick if it's a shot and goal, and an X if it's a goal. But you have to keep the goalkeeper's times. If they skate off, then you have to put the time off. Then if it's an empty net, you have to record the empty net time, and that's the only difference. But it's nothing to be scared of. And as I said, all training will be given. It's quite simple to learn. You'll learn it in one night, I'm quite sure. One of the other jobs is the penalty box judge, and you just go into the penalty box, and if a penalty comes in, you just open the door, and the time will go on the clock, and once that time's up, you let them out. If there's multiple penalties, don't worry, the scorer and the timekeeper will tell you when each player it goes out, so don't panic. And again, that's one of the easy jobs, and again, all training will be given. And we're also looking for scorers, and it seems a bit scary when you say live. It doesn't have to be live. You can put the live stats up at the end of the period, at the end of the game, so you don't have to have it live, if that makes sense. And it's just, again, it's just these sheets just filled in on a laptop. It's just boxes, you fill them in, and away you go. It's dead easy. But again, all training will be given, so don't panic. The other job I said was the assistant scorer. If we've got somebody free, then they fill in a paper sheet. We don't have to keep a paper sheet really, but until freeze we do, just in case the internet goes down or the clock packs up or anything like that, or something happens. So at least we have a written record of what's happened in the game so far, and then we can just carry on. But again, if you come in, you can watch the first game, just see what we do if you want, and then maybe do a middle period one game, and just take it from there. But don't panic, there will always be somebody with you. Okay, so we need you.
Hi, the off-ice volunteers, one thing Brian didn't mention, he says, was a timekeeper, and this is somebody that works on the clock. I'm usually the timekeeper at most of the games, so we'll go through how we work at it. What we actually put up on the clock is obviously the time for the game. That's usually 20 minutes for a senior game, it's 15 minutes for a junior. It's quite easy to use. It looks a bit daunting, but as Brian said, you'll have somebody with you all the time. The other thing that goes up on the clocks is the penalty minutes. It's usually 2 minutes, and the referees always tell you what the penalties are going to be, so there's no panic about what you need to go up on the clock. If you do have 2 penalties at the same time, the referee will tell you whether he actually wants them to be put up on the clock or not. So that's quite simple. As I say, it's sometimes a bit daunting, but after a couple of games, really, if you go into junior games, it's a lot easier. There's not quite so many penalties. Senior games tend to be. yeah, it's really good. It's good fun. It's good to watch, and you're part of the game. It's a really fast sort of game, and your reactions have to be pretty good. If and something does go wrong, don't panic. It can always be fixed.
Hope you've enjoyed that film tonight about volunteering, and hope you understand a little bit more about what it means and what you might undertake if you wish to volunteer. Don't be shy, come along and volunteer. It'll mean a lot to the club and you'll get a lot out of it. Contact Solway Sharks if you want to be involved in the volunteering. Thanks guys.